Hi everybody. The history of the song Masque Na Da. It was written by a musician named Jorge Benjor in the early 1960s during the Bossa Nova Revolution in Brazil. So in Brazil, the Bossa Nova style was becoming popular. The samba style was becoming popular in the early 1960s. It was a huge boom, a huge revolution. It was fusing with all different genres. It's a revolution. And samba comes from, well, first, bossa nova is a type of samba. It's a slower samba, it's a slower groove, it has more emphasis on melody, it's a little laid back. The samba is a little quicker feel, a 2/4 feel. And the roots of these genres, this genre, comes from early African influence from the times of slavery when people were brought from Africa to Brazil to be slaves. And capoeira was actually the beginning of samba. I was surprised to find out. I had no idea. So capoeira is a dance slash martial art. And that was invented in the 1500s by slaves in Brazil who were taken from West Africa. And they were forbidden from doing martial arts. And so this was a way to find a loophole in the law and practice martial arts under the guise of a song, of a dance, rather. And so it would become a cultural icon of just cultural identity, really. And it was also a kind of self-defense from colonizers, from Portuguese colonizers. So that's where samba came from. And the instrument berimbau would be used to keep the beat. And I'm going to share with you some videos of the berimbau and of capoeira and see if we can hear how it may have evolved into samba. And I'm just going to read to you the lyrics of the song Masque Na Da, and just go over all the history that is referenced in this song. There's a lot referenced in the song. It's a really good song to pick as something to take a look and study the history of Brazil. So the first part is oh ra ra oh oba oba oba, and that's a perfect fourth. 5/1 so do so do so do. And this first stanza is referring to the religion Umbanda, which came about in the 1930s right outside of Rio de Janeiro, Umbanda. And if you think about it, 1930s isn't that long ago. And then if you think about how 1880, slavery was abolished in 1880, that's not that much longer ago than 1930. So that's not that long ago. And then if you think about how much time from 1500s to 1880, that's a lot of influence from Africa in Brazilian culture and in culture of surrounding South America. So this beginning is a reference to Umbanda, and Oba is a reference to a deity or a goddess, a god, Oba. And she sort of represents an unrequited love because she fell in love with a god that didn't love her back in this story. So he, in this lyric, is choosing Oba, I think, because he's trying to say, whoever doesn't like samba the way that I do, I'm calling out, he's kind of calling out to Oba, like, because she may have had a similar experience where love was unrequited. Maybe he feels like so strongly about samba that he feels rejected if nobody likes samba the way he does. This is samba. That's the way I see that. And the next part is, oh, come on, get out of my way. I want to pass through because the samba is animated. What I want is to dance samba. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't make full sense because it's not in English, but the original isn't in English, so there are translation issues. But basically, I want to pass through, I'm not sure. I want to give samba to you. All I want to do is dance samba. All right, the next part. This samba, that's a mixture of maracatu, is a preto velo samba, a preto tu samba. So this part is referring to maracatu. And a maracatu, I had to research this. It's a type of procession or a march, and it was organized by slaves in Brazil who were taken from West Africa, or from Africa in general, all over. And they were forced to just forget all of their lives, no matter what type of life they had, if they were royalty or any other, aspect of part of society, regardless of that, they lost all identity. So this ceremony was a way of remembering that history or the roots. And so people would dress up in royal clothing, the royal clothing of the corteo. So what do you think the corteo means if it's royal? So we talked about this in the Baroque history. It's the court, so the royal courts. And so they would wear these traditional African colonial Baroque period styles. And there would also be a doll that would be representative of deities, different Afro-Brazilian deities. So that would be the maracatu. And that's what he's talking about here. And then even after 1880, this ceremony was continued and it evolved into different things, and different religions, different Afro-Brazilian religions have like a different version of these types of ceremonies. So I'll send you some links of those. And the next part is talking about Preto Velho or Preta Velha. And in this song, he's just referring to something they call Preta Velho, which is a symbol of a person who survived slavery until old age. So now they are elderly. And it's an image of an elderly woman and an elderly man. The elderly woman is dressed in white. They may both be dressed in white. I'm not sure. The elderly man is smoking a pipe or a cigar. And it shows, they represent the strength and the resilience, the wisdom that resulted from surviving slavery, because it was really, really rare, and people often usually died 10 to 15 years in, because it was so brutal. So this symbol became a symbol of power. And I think what Jorge Ben-Jor is doing is he's saying that this samba that we're bringing to Brazil now is representative of that history, that power, that symbol. So he feels really strongly about this bossa nova revolution, this samba revolution. Excuse me. The next part is, oh, come on. A samba like this is so cool, you won't want me to come to the end. And that means, obviously, we wouldn't say it exactly like that, but you wouldn't want it to end. You won't want it to end because it's so cool. So it's a celebration of samba, and you can tell it came out during the Bossa Nova Revolution. And those lyrics make a lot more sense in context. So I'll send you some videos of capoeira and the berimbau and some other examples of samba.